FX7News TV, and today, as always, we have two very interesting topics for you, our wonderful viewers. And the first on the list today is there was a shootout in Owerri, the capital city of Imo State, as youth clash over the demolition of the Owerri Ekoko market on Saturday, on 29th of August. Yesterday, there was a shootout between youths that were in support of Governor Rochas Okorocha over the demolition of the Owerri main market, and the youths that were against the demolition of the market. We're going to find out more details about that. Okay, now the second on the list today is Southeastern governors meet with the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu to discuss the Biafra issue. Wow, what do you think about that? Now, governors of the Southeastern states have met with the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu to discuss the Biafra issues. What we're looking at, what was the issues that were discussed during the meeting that happened yesterday on Wednesday, 30th of August. Okay, my name is Tochi Ade, and of course, you know, I have two people on the show with me here today, and I'll be introducing them to you after this short break. And of course, please, we'd like to know what you think about the topics for today. Our phone lines are open. Want to give us a call? The numbers to call will be displayed to you on your screen. And of course, you're welcome to drop your comments at our Facebook page at Happiness in Nigeria. Let's have a discussion. Tell us what you think about what we're looking at today. So please do not go nowhere. We'll be right back after this short break to bring you the news in detail. Thank you.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. It's Good Morning Nigeria, brought to you by FX7News TV. Of course, I'm on the show today with two very gentlemen I'm sure you are familiar with. The first on my left-hand side is Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tochi. Good morning. Good morning, our viewers. Thanks for joining us.
And of course, I also have Mr. Oku by my right-hand side. Mr. Oku, you are welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you, Tochi, and thank you for having me today.
Okay, viewers, like I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking at two topics today, and the first on the list is the shootout in Owerri as youth clash over the demolition of a Ekoko market in Imo State. Now, there was a shootout in the capital city of Imo State, Owerri, last night. As a result of the demolition of the Ekoko market, the clash was between the youths that supported Governor Rochas over the demolition of the market and the youths that were against it. It caused mayhem in the streets of Owerri as people were running helter-skelter to avoid being hit by a stray bullet. Wow, what a development. I don't know. Mr. Oku, what do you think about this clash between the youths in Imo State? I mean, do you think it has something to do with the government? Could it be government-sponsored? Could it be as a result of the market demolition, or as a result of the killings that happened during the demolition? What do you think might have caused this?
Yes, I think a lot of factors may have contributed to the uprising in Imo State yesterday.
Okay.
And of course, it was reported widely in the media that the death of that young boy triggered reactions from people of Imo State. People said that the governor should never have unleashed the military to go attack innocent harmless citizens. And of course, people were calling in yesterday to say that the people must rise up against an administration that does not have the interest of the masses at heart. And I think media reports and of course reactions from eminent people from the state could have triggered the youth and of course some members of the society to go out for that protest and of course shootouts. People are saying that in fact the PDP had earlier said that it was unfortunate that Rocha should be blamed for the killings. And some members from the state had said that he should be impeached, you understand. I think the families that were affected, not just the fact that market traders were asked to vacate the market, the fact that people died, and of course these people were not properly relocated, those people who were affected was an issue. And I think it's natural that we expect people to revolt, to agitate, and that's what happened yesterday. I think this issue is one that should be contained properly. Because people from the states are gradually losing trust in the government, because the governor is supposed to be the chief executive officer of the state. But now he's using the security apparatus, the security officials, to endanger the very people of the state. And these issues are becoming very worrisome and disturbing. I just hope that the situation will be brought under control.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Oko. Now, Mr. Victor, this clash that happened among the youths in Imo State, do you think it's actually reason enough, like the demolition of the market? Do you think it actually is reason enough for there to be a clash between the youths that were in support of Governor Rocha's and the youths that were against demolition of the market? Remember that they said that market was an ancestral market, and the governor had no right to just bring down the market, you understand, causing loss of lives and billions of properties amongst the citizens of the state. Do you think it's actually justifiable that there was a clash between the youths and a shootout? Although there has not been a case of any reported deaths, but there was a shootout and people were injured. Of course, properties too were destroyed. So what can you say about this clash?
Now, this is just an example of the youth causing problems for ourselves in this country.
Okay.
I don't see a reason why a set of youth should be fighting for a governor that has really cost the state so much already. Now, that is why when people say these old men in politics ought to have gone home, the youth are in support of them. So long as the youth they use the youth as tools to get their own selfish objectives, and the youth are giving these people so much support. I don't see if there should be an uprising. It should be the youth fighting the government, not the youth fighting themselves.
Okay.
Fighting themselves for something that because some of these youth, their fathers might be selling in that market. You get, and now they are supporting a governor that demolished the market where their parents sell to put food on their table. So it's very, very absurd for you to fight in support of the governor for such an act.
Okay.
With this way, if things should continue like this, then the youth who they say youth are futures of tomorrow. That means the state has no future. If the youth should be supporting a set of youth should be supporting a governor that demolished the market, an ancestral market, a market that has been in court for some time now. That means even the governor doesn't obey laws and orders.
Yes.
He's above the law right now. The rule of law doesn't. He doesn't obey the rule of law. He's above the law now. And the youth are supporting him. What kind of youth does that? So I think these youth should be contained.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Victor. Let's take the first call on our show. Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost that call. Okay, please, if you're still watching, you can call us back. Oh, please, we would like you to keep your calls coming in. We want to know, give us a contribution. Tell us what you think about what we are discussing today. The number to call, if you're calling from Nigeria, is 080-960-73146. And if you're calling from outside Nigeria, the number to call is +234-80-960-73146. Please do give us a call. We'd like to know what you think about that, what you think about what we're looking at today. And of course, you can drop your comments at our Facebook page at Happenings in Nigeria. Okay, going back to the topic of discussion this morning, as a result of the clash, 3 people were reportedly injured during the clash, and vehicles, about 5 vehicles, according to the state police, were destroyed during the clash yesterday, although there has not been any case of reported death as a result of the clash. But the police, however, intervened and were able to put things under control before it escalated and could cause any loss of life. Now, given to this, you remember that Mr. Prince, you remember that the demolition of the market has brought a lot of controversies in a way. Leaders of Imo State have also called out for the impeachment or the resignation of Governor Rocha Sokorocha, saying that he has been ruling the state as a tyrant. Now, what can you make of this? Do you think Governor Rocha Sokorocha has actually been given bad governance to the state?
I think what is happening in Imo State right now is very clear to everyone.
Okay.
Now, the governor of the state, talking about Rocha Sokorocha, has proven with his actions and decisions to be a controversial governor. And the people, the confidence of the people have actually eroded in him. People no longer trust him because it seems he is actually pushing the APC agenda too far, such that he doesn't even care so much about the welfare of his people. There is a matter that was in court pertaining to the market. I think he should have allowed the court to deliver judgments before parading mobile police and members of the Nigerian army to go shoot at site, and of course where death was recorded. Now, talking about the clash between these warring factions, I know that maybe some members of the opposing camp were actually in favor of the government. And we see how these protests sometimes turn out. It's like governments, they go out of their way to pay some young people to, protect their interests. And of course, to try to foil a genuine protest by the people against the government that does not seem to be protecting the people's interests. What I'm saying in essence is that the government or the governor has given not a very good account of his stewardship to the people, because the people are his employer, the people pays him, and the people have lost confidence in him, and it's now left for the State House of Assembly to carry out an impeachment proceedings if the people have collectively ascertained that they have no confidence in him. They can actually move to have a vote of no confidence in him, and they can start first by maybe the people protesting to the government house or to the State House of Assembly, and then the lawmakers can initiate a vote of no confidence in him, or they commence the impeachment proceedings against him. Because the governor is supposed to be the chief executive officer of the state, but in this case, we see a governor that is hunting his own people, and that's very unfortunate. I don't think that he's leading himself. In an ideal situation, he's supposed to be leading the people. Now, how can he explain the fact that the members of the Nigerian military, under his supervision, he was there, and they shot that boy? I don't know whether he has even paid a courtesy visit to the family of that boy, or he's even having any plans to see how he can make amends. I don't know whether he's made any public statement up to this time against condemning the murder of that boy. So these are the issues that the people are concerned about, and these are issues that, of course, deserves immediate remedy.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Now recall that, the Governor Rocha Sokorocha actually came out to say that the protesters against the demolition of the Ekuku market in Owerri were not actually Owerri indigents, and they were just people that were kicking against the government, people that were actually paid by the PDP party to kick against his government. So, hold on. Before I continue, let me take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. You're welcome to the show. Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Obinaya. I'm calling from Malaysia.
Okay, Mr. Obinaya, calling from Malaysia. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, please go ahead and give us your contribution to our show this morning.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, what I want to contribute based on the Rocha Sokorocha is that he should be removed, because he is leader. He should be the people, protect life and property, not killing innocent people. You cannot kill an innocent child, a child of 10 years old, for no just cause. You don't even bother, you don't even feel remorse for what you did. It's busy gallivanting, calling it the government. You should be removed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Now the economy, the Southeast governors.
Okay.
let the Southeast stop to Nigeria. See, if Nigeria indeed they want peace, let's do this in a peaceful way. Referendum is very easy. This will not take much. Then people will decide if they are to stay or to go.
To go.
There is no plan for war or problem. Simple. Referendum will just end this whole thing. To reign forever.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Obinna from Malaysia. We do appreciate your contribution. Thank you very much. Okay, we're still talking about the first topic, the shootout that occurred in Owerri as a result of the clash between the youths over the demolition of the Owerri market. Okay, now, I was saying something earlier that the governor actually came out to claim that the people protesting the demolition of the market were not Owerri Indians, and they were just merely perpetrators of the PDP party to kick against his government, justifying the fact that he demolished the market in order to bring more urban development to the state. He actually wants to relocate the market to a bigger venue also. So he's saying that the people that are kicking against it are PDP people, they are of the PDP faction. So what can you say about it? But before you go ahead, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost it. So go ahead, Mr.
With what he has said, does that really make sense to him? Because I mean, you're protesting your demolition, the source of livelihood of the people, and when the same people turn out to protest, you say that it's the handiwork of the opposition party. Does that make sense to anybody? You see, the problem here is that when leaders take advantage of the people, when they feel that they can trample upon the intelligence of the people, it makes the people sick. I think utterances like this is actually the reason why the people are calling for his impeachment. Because we would expect the governor to show remorse, to apologize, to maybe pay the family of the bereaved a visit and say, well, I didn't actually approve of this killing. How can you justify the killing of a young boy, and you're saying that when people turned around to protest, that they're actually sponsored by a political party? I think these are the political gimmicks that Nigerians should be very critical about. Because it bothers me. That boy is not my brother. You understand? I don't belong to the family, but the sight of that picture is horrifying. You understand? The guy was in a pool of blood. And what a governor will come out to tell his own people is that the protesters were actually sponsored by an opposition party. What political point is he trying to score from statements like this? I think it's a very careless statement that should be retracted by the governor. He should apologize to the people. That is, if the people will accept such apology. And I expect the State House of Assembly to do the right thing. That's the essence why they were elected. I mean, a governor should not see himself as the alpha and omega. He shouldn't come out to make unguided statements because he feels that he can brainwash the people. This is an attempt to brainwash the people. You understand? This has nothing to do with either PDP or APC battle. It's about the fact. The pictures of the demolition is everywhere. We saw the military well armed, we saw the police well armed against a civil society. Because the markets there, those guys are defenseless. And then you shoot at sight with live ammunition, and thereafter you're coming out to say that it's the PDP that's sponsoring this. I think it's awkward, it's wrong, and the governor must check himself because at this point, a lot of things are suspicious. Even his statement is highly suspicious.
Okay, let's take this call, Mr. Oku. Thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
Hello, I'm calling from Switzerland. My name is Honorable Obiadada.
Honorable, sorry we didn't hear you. Can you come again, please?
Yes, really, I'm just, what I'm thinking about is that this case of Okota killing.
Okay.
Okota should not reply to any political party or PDP or pertain. I think Okota should come out and face his consequences for killing a body of thinking. Like, I buy the idea of what your colleague, the young man with the lovely wife,
okay,
was saying. But he was saying something fast. You understand?
Okay.
In this case, I don't see the reason why your Crotta was eating inside the bush. Should he consider if that young boy happens to be his own biological son and he was just killed just like that, then all he has to say is just come out and be putting the blame on PDP party because the PDP went for condolence. They beat people for what happened to their family like that. So my suggestion here is that Okorocha should face this impeachment because Okorocha has done worse than every other governor, and yes, he's proud. You understand?
Okay.
It's very simple. Let us not start eating inside the bush, but let us come out for the real, the bad, the reality, and let the masses have peace of mind.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, a caller from Switzerland. Thank you so much for your contribution. Okay, that will be all for that call. Okay, and going ahead with this topic now, the PDP has asked the federal government to declare a state of emergency in Imo State as a result of the ongoing crisis over the alleged bad governance of Governor Rochas Okorocha following the demolition of the ancient Ekuku market in Owerri. Now, Mr. Victor, what do you think about this? The PDP asking the federal government to call for a state of emergency. Do you think there is any need for that?
Definitely, like I said something like yesterday on the show.
Okay.
Because I sincerely doubt the credibility of the state lawmakers.
Okay.
Because these people are being paid by Okorocha himself. They wouldn't want to impeach him because of the benefit. He has become a benevolent leader in that state. So the next place for them to make their call is the federal government. If only, at least the lawmakers, the legal system, they just finished the conference, the annual national conference. If they can actually redress some of the issues we are facing in this country, this is the right time for them to force the federal government to call up, let them create that state of emergency because there are a lot of insecurities in that state right now. And things cannot, very soon we're going to see more protests from different groups coming out because the governor has denied any killing. He has said it was the handwork of the opposition parties because he actually said something that the opposition, the PDP, have been trying to demolish that market for some time.
Yeah, but
which
they were not
they
able
failed to do. And now he has done it. They came after him. Now they come after him to criticize him for demolishing the market. Now, why, like I said before, why should a sitting governor violate the laws of the court, the orders of the court? Because there was an injunction for that market not to be demolished. But he went ahead, violated that injunction, and demolished that market. It's just a clear evidence that the man has seen himself as a man above the law. Just like we've seen in the APC administration for the past 2 years. You know, someone said that APC administration, just 2 years is like 8 years in the administration because of what they have done so far. They keep doing, they have to start thinking about the citizens, which I strongly believe, even that market, Rochas Okorocha went there for his own campaign before his election. And now, that's the problem. I remember Edo State Governor, past Governor Adams Oshomole, he actually rode on bike during his campaign. And after the election, few months after he was elected into office, he had to ban Okada riders in Benin towns. You get, so now you use the market as a source of as a media, as a source of a campaign for your election. After the election, you demolish it. What do you expect your citizens to do? Okay, fine, you want to build an ultra-modern market for them. What provisions have you made for them while the market is being built? Because this market is going to take time for him to complete it.
Yes.
So he's only, I don't know what to say, but this man should just be, not only impeached, Imo State should be declared a state of emergency for the now. Because the state lawmakers, believe me, they're not going to impeach this man. Going by the antecedents of APC administration, they're not going to impeach this man.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for your opinion. Now, Mr. Oko, I want to ask you, are you of the same opinion as Mr. Victor pertaining to the call for state of emergency by the PDP party in Imo State?
Yes, I don't think a state of emergency will actually address the issue at hand right now.
Okay.
Because when you look at the matter very critically, you will realize that Okorocha is of the APC stock.
Okay.
and the APC is controlling the federal government. Now, the APC that we know will never declare a state of emergency in Imo State. Rather, the House of Assembly should initiate, like I said before, they should initiate impeachment proceedings because there are procedures that they have to take. You understand? Because if Nigerians or if people from Imo State would want to rely on the federal government, I can bet you till 2019, they will never declare a state of emergency. And they will agree with Rochas that the problem is actually from the opposition.
Party.
It's a very lame excuse because it seems it's just like when you're asking an APC leader right now that what's the problem of Nigeria? Why is the economy not working? They will tell you it's the misgovernance of PDP for the past 16 years. But we can testify to the fact that in the last 16 years, it's never been this bad. But every excuse, even from the Minister of Information, is that the PDP messed up the country and they're trying to rebuild this country that was messed up. That's the excuse.
Yeah, that's true.
A very sorry excuse. So I'm saying that why I do not subscribe to the state of emergency is that the federal government will never do that. Because it's a government that believes in gimmicks, they believe in protecting their own, and of course they don't want to take responsibility for anything that is coming to them. Rather, I think the people can actually hold their lawmakers responsible. All the lawmakers, they come from different constituencies, and they have seen all this that is happening. Now, the governor have also seen that he has erred by supervising the killing of that boy. And so, how is he going to face the law? The assembly should work on this. They should either pass a vote of no confidence or initiate the impeachment process against him so that relative calm can be restored to the state. Because I believe it's as a result of this killing that we had the protest yesterday, and of course some persons were injured, and we don't know whether it's going to escalate. My point is that we cannot rely on the federal government to pronounce a state of emergency because they will never do that, I can assure you. But what we can rely on is the people. Protest is a normal thing if the people feel that they can no longer cope with this governor, because there are incidents of the governor taking lands from people, you understand, without compensation. Now, cases like these are atrocious incidents, and I think that this is the time to seek redress, especially now that he has gone beyond his limit of taking a young man's life. So I think the assembly should live up to their responsibility by deliberating on this issue and forge a way forward for the people.
Now, Oko, let me come in here. Remember the National Assembly itself. Now, we all know that our president was sick, or he actually claimed he was sick and was away for months. Now, the lawmakers, the senators, they knew this guy was no longer fit for governance. They could not effect Section 144, 143, 144 of the Nigerian Constitution. And now, are you expecting the state lawmakers now to also work for the impeachment of this man, where this man as well pays their salaries?
Victor, I would like
because
to...
now we've seen that...
Rochas doesn't pay the lawmakers. Their salaries are statutory. He cannot say that he's not going to pay. Now, the fact is that Imo State is different from Nigeria.
Yes.
Because if you check the National Assembly, we have more senators from the north and House of Rep members from the north. So these people tend to protect their own. Now we're talking about a state where all the lawmakers are people from the east. You understand? So it's quite different. And they won't say because they want to initiate impeachment proceedings against Okorocha that he would hold on to their salaries. No, it's not done that way.
Now, they might be from the east, but these people are of different parties.
Yeah, there are PDP members there.
In as much as I don't know about the lawmakers or how many members are there, how many people are there, I believe most of the lawmakers should be of the APC party. And this man, in as much as he doesn't pay their salary as well, these people get allowances from him.
These are statutory allowances.
Yeah, but he pays from his. Believe you and I know that he pays them from his own pocket as well.
No, he doesn't. The fact is that there is a budget.
Let me tell you something.
There's a budget for lawmakers, which is different from that of the executive, just like the judiciary.
And you believe Rochas doesn't give those people allowances?
No, the fact
Now,
is,
let
the
me
speaker that
let me
is
use
the
Edo
speaker
State.
that
Let
coordinates that.
me use Edo State as an example again. I remember when there was a time, Oshomole, because when I was in school there, we followed up. Oshomole passed. He said the PDP lawmakers there in the state, they do delay his budget. They delay signing his budget into law. What he did, he has to conspire. He has to conspire with his own APC members, and they have to sack those PDP lawmakers from the state House of Assembly. This is how these things are being done. Nigerian politics now, APC has taken everywhere. Let's take River State, for example, the issue between Magnus Abbey and the Abuse Kebo. What happened? He was sacked from the House of Senate. And yet, recently on the news, even Amechi himself, the Minister of Transportation, he has said that he's going to do everything to reclaim power from Wike.
The fact is that, Victor, the fact is that we have a unique situation at hand right now, and it's not about who is paying who. We know that there are statutory provisions for payment of salaries and other allowances by the State House of Assembly. Now, the State House of Assembly is an organ on its own. It's different, it's a legislature and different from the executive. So that should not even come to play here. What we are saying is that these people were elected to serve their constituents. Now their constituents have been affected, and we expect that the governor cannot be bigger than the entire people. He cannot be bigger than the State House of Assembly, which is, it comprises of people from different constituencies. We are saying that the right thing should be done. We don't care who is paying who. Now, irrespective of who is paying who, in which case the governor is not even the one that pays them, because there is a budget for them for the year. What we are saying is that you cannot tell me that all the House of Assembly members are supporting this man. We are saying that they should start. We have PDP lawmakers within that assembly. Let them start the impeachment process. Let's monitor and see how it goes. Even if it might not succeed, but let somebody start it first.
It's okay, guys.
I heard you say something that the man has been taking land forcefully from individuals. The lawmakers didn't do a thing. I remember this man was on the news a year, 2 years ago for spending how many million on a Christmas tree without paying pensioners, without paying salaries. These same lawmakers didn't do anything about it. So what gives you the assurance that these lawmakers as well are going to fight him?
The fact is that we do not expect the lawmakers to jump into all issues, especially if there hasn't been. When we're talking about the man taking land from helpless citizens, we're talking about ordinary citizens. Some of the lawmakers may not even be aware, you understand, because no official reports may have been made. But this is a matter of life and death we are talking about here. And
he's here to admit that someone was killed. I hope you know that.
We don't need him to admit. We don't need, because he won't admit. He may not want to admit. What we are saying is that somebody is dead, and the people of Imo State have seen the corpse. You understand? The video is everywhere. The pictures are everywhere. So they don't even need him to come out and admit. What we are saying is that the members of the PDP within the House of Assembly should start something, so that we will know that there is a House of Assembly in place.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. We've been on the first topic for quite some time now, and it's time to move on to the second topic for the day. I really appreciate your contribution. Okay, now moving on to the second topic of the day is the Southeast governors meet with IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu to discuss the Biafra issue. Now, there was a close-down meeting between the Southeast governors and the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu yesterday in Enugu State on 30th of August, where they had to discuss the Biafran issue. Now, in attendance of the meeting were the governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, the governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi Ugwaye, and the deputy governor of Anambra State, Nkem Okeke. Now, the governors of Abia State, Okedi Azu, and the governor of Imo State, Governor Rochas Fukocha, were absent from the meeting because they were reported to have left the country some days ago. Now, the Southeast governors, however, told Nnamdi Kanu, told the IPOB that the IPOB demand must not be absolute. What do you think about this, Mr. Oku? Now, what do you think they mean by telling the IPOB that the IPOB demand should not be absolute? Can you make something out of this request?
Yes, definitely. The best way to solve problems is through dialogue.
Okay.
And it's a welcome development that some governors of the southeastern states are coming out now to say, okay, let's sit down on the round table, let's have a discussion, and let's see how we can forge ahead. But the fact is that what baffles me at this point is that it had to take these governors such a long while before coming out to do the needful. Now, it was like what was happening with Asari Dokubo from the Niger Delta. There were negotiations because the government actually arrested him. At some point, they realized that the arrest was not yielding results, and they now resorted to negotiations. And of course, we have seen relative peace and calm in the region. Now, at some point, some concerned Nigerians were worried that we have governors in the eastern states. Why is it that they're not speaking out? They're controlling people. They ought to tell us their mind on these issues. They need to declare their position on these issues, but they weren't doing these things. Now that they have brought out the initiative to meet with him, probably to have effective communication and dialogue, I think it's a welcome development. I believe that the negotiations can be fruitful, that they can come up with very useful ideas, they can reason together, and they can see how they can solve these problems that the people have been agitating for. Now, to say that it's not absolute, I think it's too early to make such submission, because when you're going out to negotiate, you don't have a pre-planned solution. Now, you're hoping that you're going to hear from all parties involved. They will give their opinion, they will give their ideas, and everybody will come to a kind of consensus, you understand? People will shift grounds, and of course the best will be held at the end of the day. So we're expecting that they would have a fruitful deliberation, and that there should not be any hard and fast rule to this meeting, because it should be a liberal, open, transparent gathering where the dialogue will be effective, there will be free flow of perspective and ideas, so that everybody will have a sense of belonging. I think people should not be censored to air their views. The governors must express themselves and try as much as possible to also hear from him and also hear from his people, so that a decision can be reached. I think it's a good idea, and I believe that something tangible will come out of this
development. Okay, thank you very much. Now, Mr. Victor, what do you think about this development, about the Southeastern governors actually meeting with the IPOB? I recall that the Biafra station has been going on for some months now. People have been wondering why the Southeastern governors have not come out to actually address this Biafra issue, going to the fact that it concerns majorly states of the Southeastern Nigeria. What do you think about this meeting? Do you think it's a welcome development?
Yeah, definitely it is a welcome development, and it has been the missing link for these Biafra agitators and the leaders of the eastern states. Now, I think this is the right time for the eastern governors to act as intermediaries between Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government, because the federal government are so adamant and they've refused to invite Nnamdi Kanu for dialogue and negotiation. So now for the eastern governors to come out to say, okay, fine, let's negotiate with this man. But I think Nnamdi Kanu himself should be very careful, because these people, they are having their own pre-plans already. They have their own plans already, because telling him is not absolute. That means they can as well decide not to fight for Biafra anymore and give Nnamdi Kanu something else. Maybe if they can negotiate the restructuring of the states with the government, it's a welcome one though, because all we need now, is the betterment of the southeastern states. That is what Nnamdi Kanu is after. Either be the Biafra or restructuring. So himself should be very careful with these people, because they are trying to clamp this one down for the Anambra election that is forthcoming. Definitely, because it's just okay. Imagine I believe the Anambra state government wasn't present in that meeting, and this is a meeting he would have been informed before now. He would have been informed before now, but he chose not to attend because he has seen Nnamdi Kanu as his own enemy, fighting him in his own state. So Nnamdi Kanu should be very careful, and the governor should do well to act as intermediaries between Nnamdi Kanu and the federal government to see the possible end of this whole thing.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, viewers, it's still Good Morning Nigeria, brought to you by Chinese TV, and we are on to the second topic for today. Southeastern governors meet with IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu to discuss the Biafra issues. Now, as you can see on your screen, these are the pictures of the meeting of the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu and the Southeastern governors. However, during the meeting, the Southeastern governors stated that the only solution to the agitation for Biafra is dialogue and not confrontation. They also promised to engage in further dialogue with the pro-Biafra group, and even as they warn that IPOB's demand must not be absolute. I mean, I don't know, do you think IPOB's demand so far, the demand of the original people of Biafra, do you think it has been absolute? Do you think they have actually gone out of their way to make outrageous demands so far? For them, for the governors to actually state that demands should not be absolute. You know, them demanding for referendum, them demanding for all the demands they have been making so far. Do you think it's actually not been acceptable so far? Do you think it has been absolute in some kind of way for the governors to actually come out to state that the IPOB must not make absolute demands about the agitation?
You see, Tochi, I did say that you want to have a meeting, you don't even know how it's going to turn out to be like, and you're already making some kind of decrees. You understand? Because to say that it shouldn't be absolute, it implies that you're coming out with very strong terms. Why don't you allow a level playing field? Why don't you allow people to come in with their liberal minds to discuss what they have boxed up in their minds, and the atmosphere will be calm, will be peaceful, and at the end of the day they can reach some kind of a conclusion. Because you're going into a meeting and you're already setting out parameters on how the negotiations or the dialogue, the patterns it should take. I think that's not proper. They should have rested their case. They should have kept their calm. They should have just walked in to the venue of the meeting where they will dialogue. They will have a very good engagement. They will rub minds. They will reason together like adults and, of course, leaders of thought. Leaders that represent different states. That's what we expected. Talking about the demand shouldn't be absolute, I think that's not necessary at all. Because they, in the first place, do not know what would be put on the table or who is going to shift grounds on these demands and agitations. Now, when you're saying that it shouldn't be absolute, it's like you're saying that, okay, there are certain things you should talk about, and there are certain things you shouldn't even discuss. So these are the concerns. I'm saying that in such a meeting where people want to forge ahead, they want to make progress, the atmosphere should not be bottled up. There shouldn't be any form of bottleneck or bureaucracy. People should just be allowed to express themselves the way they feel, and hopefully the dialogue will produce something fruitful. So the issue of absolute areas and non-absolute areas should not even arise in the first place. Let people be allowed to express themselves. If they say it's a dialogue, if they say they want to have a way forward, then people should not be restricted from expressing themselves. Now, expressing yourself does not mean that they will take everything you say, but they can have a middle ground, you understand, that is favorable to all. And I think that should be the essence of a meeting of this nature. So I don't really give in to the issue of absolute areas and all of that. I think it's not even necessary in the first place.
Okay, thank you. But I want to ask something again. What can you make of the fact that you notice that the governor of Imo State, Richard Okorocha, was absent from this meeting, and also the governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, was absent. He instead sent his deputy to represent him during the meeting. I mean, we can say that the governor of Imo State and governor of Anambra State they are out of the country currently, but the governor of Anambra State is actually in the country. So, what do you think? Why was he not present at the meeting? Because remember that there's been ongoing feud between the governor of Anambra State and Nnamdi Kanu over the Anambra election, boycott of Anambra election. Why do you think it's because of this issue of Anambra election that Willie Obiano was not present at the meeting? And then also about Governor Richard Okorocha, you know that he is not familiar with the Biafra cause. Do you think all this would have contributed to the fact that they were all absent from the meeting with the Southeast governors?
Tochi, if it is said that it is a meeting of Southeastern governors.
Yeah.
One would expect ordinarily that the governors should be complete.
Yes.
Now, what is this thing about always running in and out of the country? What are they going outside the country to do? You understand? When there are issues. Now, just 2 days ago, a boy was shot in Imo State. Did the man fly out of the country that night? Because these are questions Nigerians must begin to ask. You are the chief executive of your state. There are issues in the state. The military visited the market for a demolition exercise, and they ended up killing a boy. And you ran out of the state. How are we sure that the governor of Imo State is actually outside the country? You understand? At a time where his attention is very much needed, he's nowhere to be found. Is that responsible governance? No. Because we know that yesterday there was protest in Imo State. Who will handle the situation at hand? So these are the concerns that I have. It's not about them being present or absent, because if they're saying that all Southeastern governors, we expect all the governors to be there. Now, if they're not there, let's talk about Okorocha. Why is he outside a state where there are issues?
Currently.
Now, people said he should be impeached. Others are saying that he's not representing the state well. And a day after the death of that boy, a violent protest erupted. And the governor is nowhere to address his people. I think it's very sorry. It's a sorry situation. It's strange. And these are the reasons why people are calling for his impeachment, because it seems he's no longer representing the very people that voted him into office.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Oku. Now, to you, Mr. Victor, just like what I asked Mr. Oku, now quickly tell us, this the issue of the absence of the governor of Imo State, Richard Okorocha, and the governor of Anambra State, William Bena, from this meeting, from the IPOB leaders meeting with Southeast governors, do you think it sends a message, kind of thinking that the result of the feud the IPOB leader has with these two state governors? Do you think it passes a message, actually?
Well, definitely, but even the pictures...
Let's take this call just for the 1 moment before you come in. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Hello, good morning. You're welcome to the show. Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
Hello.
Hello, good morning. We can hear you. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, I'm calling from Italy.
Okay, what is your name?
My name is Michael.
Okay, Mr. Michael calling from Italy. Please go ahead with your contribution. You have 1 minute, sir.
Okay, what I have is concerning our leader, Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay, go ahead.
So, you see what is going on in the country? You see how Hausa Fulani are shooting our boys on the streets. It's unacceptable.
Okay.
And again, you see, even though what is going on in Nigeria is not okay, just imagine at deep Nigeria, it's only one war that is functioning. Is it okay? Only one seaport. When we have a lot of seaports in Nigeria, we have seaports in Papakot, we have seaports in Calabar. Why they are not functioning and they are using only one seaport?
Okay, please, can you round up now? You have barely 30 seconds. Just round up your contribution, please. I say you have 30 seconds to round up your contribution, please.
Are you not hearing what I'm talking about?
Yes, we are hearing you. I said you should round up, summarize your contribution, please.
Yeah, it's what I'm talking about. I say you see what is going on in Nigeria, how our suffering, they are killing our boys. It's unacceptable.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Michael, calling from Italy. That will be all. Okay, Mr. Victor, you're about to say something, so quickly tell us.
I said from the pictures that were shown on the screen, we see that even the people that were present, they couldn't even stand firmly. They were very happy. You could see the space between them. It's like they were forced to negotiate. They were forced in that meeting. Then probably the federal, maybe the high authority have sent them, okay, just do this thing. just do this thing for us to let them see that we are trying to make out something from with this man. You could see the space there. They're very happy standing with him. You can see the other man folding his arms, the other one, his hand behind him. It doesn't show a good relationship. It doesn't show that they actually resorted to something amicably. So there are a lot of things to be done, not just this thing they showed us. And Rochas Okorocha to be out of the country, where his own state is on fire right now, is unacceptable. These are clear signs that the lawmakers should act very fast. They should act swiftly to put this man out of office. That's just what they have to do.
Okay, let's take this call quickly. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. You're welcome to the show. Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, can I call it from there?
Sorry, can I call you from where, please?
Ghana.
Okay, Mr. Ekene calling from Ghana. You're welcome to the show, Mr. Ekene.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, please go ahead with your contribution. You have 1 minute.
Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. You have 1 minute, please.
Okay, about the Nnamdi Kanu meeting with about the Eastern governor inviting Nnamdi Kanu in the meeting about that.
Okay.
See, I thought they said that they were midterms and the jobless and the so on and so forth. Why are they eager now? Why are they meeting with our leader enough to him to first for the Biafra? But they are in this because our leader is the man to the president. What he says is what he's going to do. I know he's not going to change his mind. He can never either Biafra or death. Because that is our plan. That is what we believe in. If there's no chance it to be relevant to us again, it will have to pressure the federal government and the other ones that to conduct referendum.
Okay.
It's only referendum that can be end for this thing.
Okay.
Let people to pay for referendum. Let people disappear. Whether they belong to it, they still want to be in Nigeria or they want to be in Biafra. By they are still that they will gone and everything, arrest they are made it, they are grown and the shooting is not happening. The best way is to dialogue referendum.
Okay.
Referendum of the nation in Anambra State. That is where we start.
Okay, thank you so much.
We welcome it.
Okay.
Any stations of no referendum and no election, we are not part of it.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ekene, calling from Ghana. Thank you so much. We appreciate your contribution. Okay, the caller was saying that the meeting, the Biafrans only want referendum and nothing else. Like, it's a welcome development. I mean, the meeting has been long anticipated. You know, the meeting between the southeastern governors and Nnamdi Kanu has been long anticipated, and he's saying that it's a welcome development. So, I don't know. I think that should be a welcome development, like he said. Okay, now giving the response during the meeting during his meeting with southeastern governors. Now, during the meeting, the southeastern governors actually tried to convince Nnamdi Kanu to drop his agitation for Biafra, but he refuted. Okay, before I go ahead, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. We can hear you.
My name is Emmanuel. I'm calling from London.
Okay, Mr. Emmanuel calling from London. You're welcome to the show. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes. My contribution is based on what is going on, the meeting between the southeastern governors and the publisher.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. What I want to contribute is that the southeastern region or the southeastern governors, I would have expected this meeting to be held before now.
Okay.
What I expect from them is to just look at the masses. If they look at the crowd that follows Nnamdi Kanu, cannot be compared to the crowd that followed this governor, those people that came themselves to the governors that don't listen to their people. If the general masses are saying that they want Biafra, and that is what they want, and you're forcing them to vote for you as a governor next year to contest again for governor, you're asking them to come and vote for you again. I think something is not going well there, something is not adding up.
Okay.
What I would expect the governors to do is to hide themselves and know what are these people asking for. If they're asking for a referendum, I don't see that something bad.
Okay.
Here in the United Kingdom, we have a place called Scotland. We have Wales, we have Northern Ireland. All these places, they have their own parliament. Scotland have their own parliament, yet
they are still United Kingdom.
Okay, okay, Mr. Emmanuel.
They have their own laws. They have all but until
Okay.
return their
Okay. Oh, sorry, we lost our call, Mr. Emmanuel. If you're still watching, you can call us back, although we're about to round up the show right now. Okay, now Nnamdi Kanu actually defended the formation of the Biafra Secret Service. He said that the governor, he explained to the governor that it was not a terror group and it does not bear arms, but it was formed to monitor the return of the Igbos living in the north as against the expiration of the deadline given to them on October 1st. Now, other issues were also discussed during the meeting of Southeastern governors with the Nnamdi Kanu. Okay, now I'll be wrapping up the show for today. It's been an interesting one, it's been an engaging one, and I hope you, our viewers, you had a nice time watching us today. Okay, from the studio here, we're saying you have a nice day, and we'll be joining you again tomorrow, same time on Hin News TV. So please enjoy the rest of your day. That'll be all for today. Thank you so much for watching us. Bye-bye. Okay.
Audio Jungle.